welcome to this tutorial series regarding annual results for ResStock. I'm Yasser Al-Masri. I'm going to be narrating these videos for you, giving you a small tutorial on how we can view the data and do certain operations with it that can give some outputs that might be relevant for the type of work that you're doing. To start off, I'm going to show you in this introduction video how to access the data sets. Those will be provided through links for you, but just kind of showing you how it's structured within within the website where you can access the data. As well, beyond that, show you a bit of a introduction to how we can look at the data set itself, the baselines, and maybe the upgrades as well. And then as the tutorial series goes through, we can see a couple of different operations that might be relevant to the type of work that you're doing. So initially, we start off on the OEDI, the Open Energy Data Initiative website. Links will be provided for you. Over here, we would use the newest version that we have. So we're looking at annual data in this case. So we're looking at AMY 2018 is the newest one we have so far at the time of recording this video, at release 1.1. In here, we want to go to metadata and annual results. And then depending on the type of analysis we're doing, in this case, let's look at by state and the state of Colorado, where NREL is located. Inside here, you will find two sub-branches, CSV and Parquet. CSV is a very commonly used format for storing data. This can be viewed with Excel, which provides us an advantage here. The other would be Parquet. Parquet is a, just for extra information, is an open source data format that allows for highly compressing the data, so it allows it for smaller file sizes, while CSV has a larger file size. However, Parquet, to be open, needs software, for example, such as libraries called Arrow and Python or R to view it, versus CSV, which is useful for us as we can open it with Excel. In every folder for the state that you're looking at, you'll find the baseline metadata and results. This is where you can look at the stock itself, what we're starting with, and a series of 10 upgrades and the results of the savings as they are. So in this case, we will start off by downloading these files, and let's start off with the baseline metadata and results. I already have downloaded that, but please, when you're using this, download it so you can go through this. So once we've downloaded it, we would open the file. It would look something like this. I'm just going to go very quickly through what we have here as general categories, and please take your time to look through them. There's a lot of valuable information here that can be useful depending on the type of analysis you're looking at. Initially, we have, the building ID, which is the individual ID of the representative building that we're looking at. Weights exist here in column C. In this particular case, the weights are evenly distributed for each type of building. If it had but not, there are ways to deal with that. We'll look into weighted averages as we look through another video here. Divisions of properties where the climate zone is. Actually, we're talking climate zones or IECC. What are the climates that we have? What cities does that representative building exist in? Very different properties of the different buildings that we have. Now, what I wanted to point out here is, if we look at these categories at the top row that we have, we notice that at the beginning of all of these, if you look over here, we have in, and at the other part of it we have out. And in really is just inputs. This is what we have put in to the actual, so these are the properties of the building that you're looking at. According to that building ID, this is what the properties would be. These are all the information that you want to know about this particular building. Things like, for example, income for representative household living in this particular building. For example, in this case, it's between 60K and 69, or around 70K. At the other side, if we keep going to the other side, and we can just go through that one, we would have out. Out is really just the outputs that we would get from these buildings. Now, you might be wondering why some of these outputs are for example, even that might be, for example, certain properties that you would look at here, and we'll get to the more interesting part about emissions and all. But these outputs are because we've modeled the building itself according to geometry, And these outputs, because they are calculated from the input services that we've put, but that's it there. So just kind of clarifying what we have. But really what we care about most is the idea of consumption here. So once we look at these consumption, we're looking at consumption per end use, per fuel. So let's look at that and kind of break it down. So we have output, that means we've generated or calculated that per se. We have electricity, so this is an electricity. This is the type of fuel we're using. This is a natural gas or kerosene or something other than that. The ceiling fan, so effectively this is the end use that we're using. Then this is energy consumption as reported in kilowatt hours. As we go through, different end uses are stated here. So we're looking at that. Again, the same format, out electricity. We're looking at what it is, consumption kilowatt hours. So notice here, so when we're looking at hot water energy consumption, for example, this category, we have it as fuel oil. That's our fuel in this case, and this is still reported in kilowatt hours. Natural gas as well. So here we have clothes dryers that use natural gas, and we have some reports in certain buildings versus others that do not. So that depends on the building ID that we are looking at. In general, this is how you would look at these and understand the data set that we've kind of put here. So effectively just following the format of output, fuel, what is the end use itself, and what is it being reported in. So for example, here we have kilo BTUs or gallons, depending on what we're looking at. This is more related to water. This is just a intro to how we can download the data set, look at the baseline itself, and understand what we're doing. In the next video, we'll look at one of the upgrades, and we'll try to see how we can look at those and understand effectively how we can imbibe data and extract from it in a way that's relevant to all of us.